I would actually kind of say Nico might be, in my personal opinion, he might be kind of a small 160 as well. Yeah. Which probably why I personally think he wasn't able to handle your power throughout the whole night. You were able to bully him kind of around the ring.
Yeah, I was. We actually trained for that. We trained to stay in his chest. Shane had me working like deep in the chest, Shane and Q, and we stayed on that, and it worked. The game plan worked. Coach's game plan worked. I just followed that. So anything you saw me do that night, minus throwing the hook, he didn't really throw any hooks really like that. It was more straight punches.
We did roll underneath that one hook.
We did roll on there underneath the hook.
Obviously the head was not up. We got hit.
But we did roll under the hook, and that was the game plan. So we just stuck to the game plan, and it worked.
Are they talking about a rematch? Was there a clause in this one that you wanted back?
From what I understand, there was no clause, but from a business standpoint, the powers that be, business standpoint is they have to come back. Yeah. I mean, from a standpoint of the young man, it's nothing personal. It's just considering the hype and everything that goes on around the kid. You know, from a business standpoint, you just can't jump up and be like, oh, we're going to go take on this, and you leave this sour note of this loss, especially considering the fact the controversy of his last fight was, you know, people thought he might have lost. You know, regardless of what anybody think, it was a draw. People thought he lost. So you're kind of looking at two bad performances for this kid that's supposed to be the next one. So that's just not the business. So I'm expecting the phone call, and when we, you know, if it all makes sense and if it all works out, I mean, we'll do it again. No problems with that at all.
What if they say 154? How would we feel? Do we think the fight at 154 would be any different?
No, actually, it'd be better.
It's going to look more of a struggle for him than probably will be for Slink, because I don't think he's ever fought at 154. I can't remember.
Which is why I was a little surprised when they first said it was supposed to be at first 154. Which is because he's already pretty lean.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure if we go again, just off the top of my head, we'll probably be at 160, which is either 154 or 160. It doesn't matter to me. I just think that people understand in this business, style makes fights as well. I think his style and how he moves and how he carries himself, it's just a fight that's just tough for that young man to deal with, as far as pressure and the other things that he's able to do. Because that's the funny part about the fight is, you know, he was able to be relaxed, but we're still talking about tricks and trades that he didn't even get to see because of the things that we worked on, but you know, that he wasn't able to do. So
that's a fact.
So for us, it's a fight that's perfect. Like, we'll take it, you know what I mean, and we'll take it and we'll run with it and we'll beat him again.
So you said you've been poking at it for a few months. You said it was after his draw?
No, even beforehand. Even beforehand, I just watched and I looked at, you know, being a guy that I've loved boxing for a long time, just watching, and I seen flaws. You know what I mean? It's like the kid can box a little bit. I'm not gonna sit here and disrespect the kid and act like he can't do anything in the ring, but just certain flaws that he had was just tailor-made for him. And you know, him being a pressure fighter, downhill, like, we can take advantage of this. You know what I mean? So, you know, I just poked. You know, I'm blessed to know, like I said, a couple people in top rank as far as you know, in the hierarchies, and just poked a little bit. What do you think about this? And you know, I got a guy who's this, and you know, stuff like that. And they always heard me, but they were like, yeah, and, you know, and sometimes a loss is a blessing. When he lost to Cameron Crane, unfortunately, that was the opening door. They were like, oh, let's check him out. So it was like, thank you. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, we'll take that one all day long, considering what it's done for us now. So
now, if it means going forward with bigger fights from Top Rank or whatever, are we just going to leave that L in the dust and just not even look back? Or
they know I want that fight. They know I want it, but you know, it's just business-wise, I guess. How I've been explained is just business-wise. They think it's not smart because it's like, why go backwards when you're going forward? It's like you're on ESPN now, you're doing this.
But I know now.
Why
it's
are you
like,
thinking?
oh, it's right
but
there,
inside, inside they're thinking like it's an ego thing. They're like, your ego and this is that. It's a respect thing. Because he talked too much.
The biggest lesson you've learned from your lone defeat made it possible to beat Ali?
Just training, what's the biggest lesson I've learned? That's a good question. The biggest lesson I've learned from that is
stay focused.
I mean, I was disciplined.
That was the biggest thing in this camp versus the last one. This camp, I was on him, you know, about the little things. I mean, the biggest thing about this business and any business of sports, it's the little things. We're all athletic, we're all athletes and all that type of stuff. But can you do repeatedly the little things that you don't want to do because of whatever reason? Whether it's coming home at midnight versus 3 in the morning, or coming home at 9 versus 10. You know, making sure I'm gonna eat this food versus this food. Those little things is what created this fight and created the opportunity. It was just the little things of just doing things the right way. And we all got together, and he'll tell you he got the chewing of a lifetime. You know, after that, you know, unfortunately after that loss, just because I know what he's capable of. And you know, but the good news is, like I said, that chewing and all the work that we've done together has made this stage. So now we're just gonna plug away, and you know, for us it doesn't matter. We're an old crew. We're an old school crew. We're not ducking. We're not running from nobody, and you know, we're about the work. We're gonna get in this gym. You know, he has his 2-week suspension, which is mandatory off the fights. Once we get done, guess what? We're gonna be right back. We're gonna be in the lab, ready for whoever, getting for, you know, for whatever. We don't care. You know, we're not trying to duck smoke. We're not trying to duck people and all that. We understand it's a business. We understand, you know, it's money involved. But at the same time, we're a bunch of old school guys, man. Strap up and let's see who's the best and go from there. We believe we can compete with anybody. We don't care. It's just how we are.
Question is for coaches. Congratulations, Slink, by the way.
Thank you.
First off, I wanted to ask about, you know, you were overworking in your last camp, right? And, you know, maybe that could be attributed to some form of confidence issue, or like, you know, you weren't sure if you were ready or not, so you wanted to make sure you're doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
How did you, as coaches, manage that within him to be able to reassure him that he's doing the right things and he doesn't need to do the extra stuff to be ready to come fight?
I think that kind of worry comes with all camps, though. Even this camp, we were taking the workload physically down. We were meeting more often, but he was sweating a lot less. And even as a coach, you're like, is that the right answer? Is this going to pay off? But ultimately, we had to stop working his body so hard all the time. I mean, he's not in his 20s, he's in his 30s. He's got some mileage on him. And drilling was really the thing. And what we did hard was we just drilled as many days as a week as we could, so that the technique would be there even when he got tired or if he got tired. And that's what happened. But
You feel the same way, too?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing was we went a lot smarter on this one. I was telling the gentleman, the focus was technique and structure of how we wanted him to work. Not necessarily run him into the ground, make sure he's in, you know, elite shape. He's already in shape. But the real focus was making sure that we were on point with our game plan. And we repeated that over and over. Like we were sitting back. When you get to watch, that's the best thing. It's fun as a coach. When you get to watch the work that you work on, and he executes it, you know you've done your job. And you know, I give Coach Shane the utmost credit. He came up with the game plan as far as how to attack him, how to move, and he came up with the whole game plan, and we executed it and worked to a T.
O'Connor.
So at the end of the day, he deserves a lot of credit for this, because you know he puts in a lot of time as far as film, paying attention to things that other people don't pay attention to, and focusing on things that a lot of folks do. And when
getting punched by Slink a lot.
Yeah.
So
that happened.
You know, he came to me and said, "Hey, coach, this is what I'm thinking," and I trust him with everything. There's very few times Coach Shane tells me like, and I'm like, but let's not do this, let's do this. Whatever he said, you know, most time whatever he says, I run with, because I trust him and I know he has all of our interests best at heart. So he deserves a ton of credit for this. Absolutely.
Shane, when you're looking at Ali Walsh, his strength and ability, then you see Slink Slink in there straight up against it. How do you feel their striking ability kind of stacked up?
I just think that Slink's style has more, creases in it. There's more stuff going on. I mean, he's definitely got some crazy techniques and some things that he does that I'm not in love with. Slink's a little bit of wild in there, but that kind of part of the package, that's part of what makes him so good. Or Nico's, most of my time I am an amateur coach. I have 2 professional fighters I work with. I have 20 amateur fighters, and Nico's style really reminded me of my amateur fighters. Really strong offense. I know how to throw my punches, and if I get hit back, I know how to hold my hands up. But those are his options. Throw his punches or hold his hands up. I didn't see a lot of footwork from him. I didn't see a lot of slipping and countering. I didn't see a lot of ring control. And when we did land a good punch, he got backed up to the ropes. I mean, how many times have you ever seen a guy rock someone and then get put on the ropes directly afterwards? So I just don't think his footwork was there. And compared to Slink's and how much we've worked on his ring craft.
Slink, how do you think you responded to their instruction from round to round?
Man, it literally, the way we trained, it was drilled in me already. So I really, it was muscle memory. It kind of just took over. You know what I mean? Once I got in there, I didn't really have to think. I just had to do what we've been training for the last 3.5 weeks. 2 to 3 times a day. But it was so much. Yeah, it was already there. So stuff was coming, and it was already happening. You know what I mean? Before I didn't really have to think about it. It was instinct. I was in ultra instinct mode. Man, straight up. That's a fact.
Coach Q does not know what ultra instinct mode is.
Yeah, he does. he gonna watch
the Tournament of Power. I promise.
He don't watch it. Okay, that's it. He looking confused. So go ahead.
I noticed that when you hit the flurry to the body and hit on top.
Yeah. Yup. Oh yeah, I had to throw that. Yeah. I asked Shane. During camp, I was like, yo, we need to add the flurry and into the head, because that's my thing, So as soon as it happened, bow, it happened. So
I heard it too.
Fact. Yeah. You already know, man.
Did you really tell Tim Bradley that you loved him in the middle?
Yeah, I did. I was like, yeah, because you know what?
They caught it.
You know what's so crazy? When Tim Bradley, the second time, or the first time that he beat Pacquiao, I thought he won too. So it was probably me and him that thought he won, and then I'm arguing with my friends in the house that were watching the game that he won. I'm like, yo, Timothy Bradley, I said he won that shit. He did win that shit. I told
Well, after you said that, he on the broadcast, he said he loved you too.
Oh man, that's my guy.
And then Joe Testor is mentioned in your lats. He's asking.
Oh yeah.
I said about 350 maybe. He goes, I'm gonna ask him.
Yeah, he did say that. Yeah, because he has a similar build as me, and so he knows when you have muscle, it's harder. It's harder to have your win last longer. Yeah, you got the power in the first 2 rounds, but will it last? Because you're tired, you're exhausted, so you can't throw as hard as you would in the first round. Especially with all the muscles. But I can't help it. The more that I work out, the more muscular I get. The harder I work out, more weight resistance, the more muscular I get. I just can't shake it, but I don't want to shake it. I like the way I look. I like the way I fight. I like it. Yeah.
Body work looked good too, man. The jabs to the body.
Oh yes. It's so funny because we practice these things. Like jab to the body is something I do, but we also had the 2 to the body. People aren't talking about the 2 to the body, but you can see in the highlight, I throw it to the body and then and the punch goes over my head, and then I come back with the hook. We worked on that daily. The 2 to the body, 3 to the head. We worked on that daily. We worked on it. So it was simple to do when I was in there. And the funny thing is, we were thinking that maybe he would stop the jab. So maybe when he figured out to stop the jab, I would feint the jab. He would go down and I would come over top. But he never figured it out. Oh yeah. I feinted. Boom. Yeah. Feints is something that we put in the game as well. But we thought that he would probably figure that out, and then boom, if he does figure it out, I go over the head with the overhand, which is my signature punch, or I go with the hook. I feint the jab to the body, go with the hook, because he's gonna bring his body body down in order to block the jab, but he never did.
Because that was the only thing that they were really saying.
No, because he wasn't.
Potentially in danger of.
It's so funny
that you got hit with an uppercut, and then on the replay they.
It wasn't, and it was because I threw my uppercut, and when I threw my uppercut, he threw his hook at the same time. That's how he caught it. And the funny thing is, when I won the Mid-America belt, I was pushing in just like that, and I would wait for the hook because I can feel when he's doing it, because this side slightly goes like this, and then I just pull back, and when I pull, the punch will come, and then I strike. But he never really threw upper. He never really threw any. So I just stayed in his chest. I stayed in his chest where he couldn't work, and then I'm able to work because I'm going over top, you know.
What was your thought going through your head when you got clipped with that left? You know, I mean,
I was like, oh, he lucky. I was like, ooh, he lucky. I was like, oh, he lucky.
it looked like you were kind of on roller skates for a couple seconds, but you regained your composure.
Oh yeah, I regained it. I don't know where that shake.
Yeah, you had a little stanky leg, just real quick.
Real
just
talk.
had to shake it out real
I
quick.
hate that when I seen it. I was like, ugh. I was like, ah. But then when I came back, I was like, oh, okay, I gotta try to get him down. Boom, 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 and it worked. And I was back to consciousness right after. You know, I was there, but it was like, where my legs? And it's like, okay, there they are. All right, I just had to.
They mentioned that, yeah.
I was worried that you know, normally when someone gets shook, you know, and there's that much time left, you're like, oh. You get an attack, and then maybe you get, you know, that flurry when the ref comes in, like, no.
Fact.
But no, you regained yourself.
Landed a good hook in return.
Yep.
And Nico also did a good job of being wobbled and staying in there at the end of the round.
Point and Shane, you know, you came on that round.
Yep.
When I commented on Instagram, I think you saw it. Like, I thought you still won that round.
Me too. Me too. You ain't the only one. I thought that too. I swear.
So the scorecards took a little bit long to be read, so they had to go to commercial for a little extra time. What was running through your head at that time?
They're gonna rob me. I was like, man. I was like, oh, and then I just made it like, y'all gonna do this, man?
Yeah,
Every time he hit me, I made sure.
It's gonna be.
Man.
But if you listen, because obviously we're not hearing Timothy Bradley and all them, but if you listen, if you watch on ESPN Plus, we were joking afterwards, if you watched it on YouTube, if you were blind, you would think Nico was killing him. I mean, because we would land 4 or 5 punches at a time, and there would be silence.
Nobody said nothing. Nobody said nothing.
You know, Bradley was definitely complimentary of his overall style, but they were ignoring a lot of the play-by-play aspects of the fight. So when they said draw afterwards, after watching it again on YouTube, I was like, I can understand someone being convinced this was a draw, but it wasn't.
I wasn't.
I knew it wasn't.
I had little birds chirping that we won already, so I wasn't worried. They didn't know that.
No,
Nobody knew. This is kind of exclusive right now. I knew as soon as the fight was over, as soon as the bell rang, I got the word that we won. So I was like, oh, okay. So I mean, so when they said draw, I kind of laughed in my head, like, oh, okay. So that's how y'all gonna work this? Because they didn't. A unanimous would have been like, but fair enough. You know what I mean?
That was big time.
Yeah, I look surprised by the decision when it was announced.
Yeah, when he said, because I don't know why he was putting his. I was like, why he putting his finger up? Then they said draw, or the first judge said the tie. Did he? The first judge said the tie, and then that's when I was like, oh. I was like, no, they didn't. They're gonna cheat me. I was like, nah, they ain't gonna cheat. I smiled at it like, nah, they ain't gonna cheat. They can't do that. You know, everybody sees it. You know what I mean? So they did the right thing, man. But it was definitely nerve-wracking when the first judge read his numbers.
Celebration like after that. I mean, it looked like there was maybe some other element guys in the houses.
Yeah, we had some.
Oh yeah, we had people come out. Yeah.
We had a nice fan base, man. Not only our fan base, but just we turned the crowd as well. You know what I mean? So it was a combination of both things. So so it was in our favor. As far as the night, you know, to tell you the truth, it was kind of bittersweet. You know what I mean? We hung out for a little bit, but it wasn't the same because it was like we wanted to just get home. Once we opened our phones, man, like I mean, he had over 200 messages. I had over 150 messages. You know, his Coach Shane's phone was going. You felt the love from home, so you wanted to be home. You know what I mean? Like it would have been the perfect thing. Get off the plane. You know, you see the old NBA thing. You know, they get on the plane after a championship. They're going, hey, get off the plane. You know, it was that feeling like we just wanted to get on a plane and get home because we knew that home and this is being honest, I didn't realize home was on our backs like they were. I mean, don't get me wrong. We know you guys, you support whatever we do and stuff like that, but just in general, Lucy and Lucy Laney and COD, like everybody was
Every
here.
gym,
You felt
every gym
everybody
except Rudy
like, hey man, we're here for you guys. So it was just one of those things where it was cool being there, but we just wanted to be home.
Northside too, Northside.
Yeah, we just wanted to be home and get this opportunity where everybody could just say, hey man, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Don't get me wrong, especially in this state. Boxing is an individual state, but at the same time, there's times when we all unite. You know what I mean? We get behind that one guy because he's representing us. We get behind that one guy because you know what I mean? And we felt that, and we just want to come home.
A little bit of a Terrence Crawford effect.
Absolutely.